everyone. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. Thank you for attending the October edition of Think and Link. I am extremely disappointed that none of you showed up in costume. My name is Dustin Studelska. I am the brand communication strategist at Capsule. Capsule, of course, is the host of this evening, a special projects agency, everything from design, everything brand, marketing, you name it, we will put an excellent spin on it. I am not Aaron Keller, your usual host. He is off, I'm sure, having the time of his life at the Equip Expo in Louisville, Kentucky, looking at robotic tractors, lawnmowers, and excavators and things like that. Learning a lot about how those things are branded. We're always looking for opportunities to learn about new markets. So I'm sure he'll have a full report next time or something like that if you're interested. Before we get going, I'll mention our sponsors really quick. Lake One, a modern growth and technology partner helping B2B brands navigate digital transformation across marketing, sales, and customer experience. They've been a Capsule partner for a long time, so thank you. August Ash, a web design, development, and digital marketing firm based in Bloomington, Minnesota. Also Capsule partner, thank them very much. And RSP Architects, this lovely space is theirs and we're delighted to use it. Our office is on the 4th floor, also a very lovely space. If you want to visit, check out where the magic happens. One of our staff would be happy to escort you up there. A little bit about me before I pass it off to the more important people today. As I said, my name is Dustin Studelska. I do strategy stuff, bridging into creative stuff for Capsule. So usually that means strategic research, bridging into writing most of the time. My background is not in brand. I was a historian in a past life, so I bring a sort of interesting perspective, I think, to things. But that also means often I'm living kind of up here, whereas across the stage from me, we have much more of a marketer's marketer in Abby Kelsey.
Hello, everyone. If you ever just want to have a eye-opening conversation, Dustin is your guy. You can say any topic and just he'll get you going on it. And again, you'll be way over here before you even realize it. So I'm Abby Kelsey. I am the CEO of Marketers Community and founder of Always Social. So I am a social media consultant full-time, and then I lead a marketing organization, Marketers Community, part-time. And I'm going to do a shameless plug for our next event. We have an event coming up November 19th. For all of the marketing leaders in the room, it will be, and I'm making sure leveling up as a marketing leader, insights from the top. So I'm very excited. We have some really a great lineup of panelists. And so I'll connect with me on social and you'll see it posted. Yeah, and that's me.
Perfect, thank you. And yeah, I've been to one of Abby's events, would endorse it as well. Also want to remember to mention thank you to everyone tuning in on LinkedIn who's not here today. Sometimes we have a big LinkedIn crowd. Sometimes we have a big in-person crowd. Sometimes both at once, but you're always welcome to tune in on LinkedIn. But thank you all for coming in person. That's lovely too. The networking is maybe the best part. Our speakers today, we're going to be talking kind of about retail in general, sort of coming at it maybe from slightly different angles. First, we have Gaye Dean, VP of Retail Development at Miraculous Corp. Many years of experience at Target, other companies, Pocket Watch, I believe it was. Retail products revolving around children, forming relationships. Those are the kinds of things we'll get into. And Alissa Montbriand, CEO and proprietor of Pacifier. I'm sure she'll talk about what that is. If you don't already know, previous experience in hotel chains, finance background, all sorts of interesting stuff happening. With that, I would love for each of you just to briefly introduce a little bit more about your journey than what I just said, and we'll kind of take it from there. So, Alissa, if you don't mind.
Sure thing. So my very first job, I've been in retail in some form since I was 16. I worked at the Levi's at the Mall of America, which was very fun. They had a music video wall, had MTV. But I actually started out in investment banking, but in the retail group at Piper Jaffray. So my first acquisition that I helped with was Hat World. Went on from there and did finance, strategy, and then digital marketing at companies such as Best Buy, PetSmart. I went to Staples in Boston, was long distance from my husband for 4 years, moved down to Florida to actually live with my husband, right? And worked for restaurants. So Blooming Brands, which owns Outback, Carrabba's, Bonefish Grill. Moved up here for some family reasons and worked for Radisson for a couple of years. And then, I built my toolkit in finance, marketing, and strategy. And I'm like, I'm making PowerPoint decks, right? I love making a good PowerPoint deck. But I was like, well, if I actually was able to put what I was doing to test, would it work? So I started looking for a small business to buy and ended up seeing 4 baby stores in the Twin Cities. And I was like, well, I think I know what that is. I've been a longtime customer. While I don't have kids, I love the experience as a gifter shopping there. So I met the founder Wing and ended up buying the business from her 8 years ago. And since then have grown it. We've over doubled. I've increased online probably more than 6 times, and really have learned a lot about the industry. And I think what I'm most passionate about is kiddo retail is the happiest corner of retail. Like, people are always in a good mood when they're expecting new grandparents or kiddos coming to shop. So it's really a joyful part of retail to be in.
Thank you. Gaye, please go ahead.
Well, oh, there it is. That was very exciting. You've had a lot more jobs than I have, but you made me think when you were saying my first job in retail was selling shoes. So have you noticed all of our cute shoes? The girls, though,
If anyone else got the memo, it's all of the animal print today.
We're all in the animal print. This was not planned, but we're going to be best friends, I know.
Sorry, Dustin, we didn't fill you in on the memo.
It's okay. I left my snakeskin at home on purpose.
That's next time.
But I started really my career selling shoes, which was really fun. I worked in a few boutique, like little shoe stores, one in St. Cloud, Minnesota, where I grew up. And then I moved down here when I got married. And then one day, which I won't really tell the story because it's a little sad, but I decided to walk from the shoe department down to this place called Dayton's and sell shoes there because you made commission and the money was a lot better. And I started working with these people, and this one guy's like, "Hey, you should work at Target." And I'm like, "Well, that sounds fun." And next thing you know, I'm interviewing at Target and went down there and became a merchandise coordinator selling sports related products. So like the NFL, MLB, whatever. It was the greatest area for me because I love sports. Then I was just like, ooh, not sure I really want to do this job because I had to fax. Some of you people don't even know what that is, but I had to fax the orders, and the orders were so long because there were so many sizes and teams. I ended up in merchandise presentation at Target and then left and did entertainment marketing really for about 20 years. So worked on a lot of really fun projects with a lot of fun people that are here. So thank you guys for coming. Launched Hello Kitty for kids in the US, did Domo, I just did a lot of stuff. It was wonderful. Ended up leaving Target, worked for a small company called Pocket Watch, where we started really developing consumer products for the world's largest kid YouTube creators. And like you said, working with kids stuff is so fun. So that was really fun. And I did retail business development there. So really calling on all the retailers and making sure that they knew what Ryan's World was, because the parents, didn't, and usually the buyer that was in their, mid-20s, just out of college, never heard of Ryan's World either, but making sure they did that. Then I moved over to Miraculous Corp in January 23 and doing really the same thing. So I call on Walmart and Target, and just really, it's been really fascinating. And really, I feel like I'm the brand ambassador. So like whenever our licensees or our manufacturers walk into those stores, that buyer's like, "Oh yeah, I've heard of that," So that's really kind of my, career journey, and really thankful to be here today.
Thank you so much.
Can we break that down just a little bit more? Because you both are in retail, right? But between, I feel like, in-store, online, selling into, all very different in your strategies. So can you just at a high level explain kind of for your business where you are, if it's more online, if there's retail, if it's selling into retail, and then how your job relates to that, or kind of the areas that you focused on most?
So my current role, I get to do everything. So yesterday, so as the owner of a small business, I have a team of about 45, I would say, but the HVAC broke in both Woodbury and Wayzata yesterday. So yesterday was all about HVAC. Right? Right? You do what you have to do. So I currently have somebody overseeing my 4 stores. So I'm a little bit less in store, except I do all the events. I've been doing all the marketing. I have someone that helps me with buying, but I've been more focused on online, I would say, the last 2 years, but that's just because I fill the gaps in the team where I need to. So when I have really good people here, I'll do this work. When I have really good people here, I'll do this work. Previously, I would say I was more digital focused. So when I was at Radisson, I led their digital team. When I was at Blooming Brands, I led their digital team. I created one of the first content marketing teams back when, it was first a thing in 2008 at Staples.
Love that.
So.
And I think it's interesting. I mean, it sounds like this huge Miraculous Corp. It sounds so big, but really we're a small company. We formed a joint venture last year with a company called Mediawan, and Mediawan is this big independent production company, but we really are a small team. And like you, I put on a lot of hats. So even though I'm the retail person, we have a small marketing team, and I have a marketing background. So one day I might be working on, marketing things, or we have a social media person that just left. I might have to talk to you. And, so it's like, okay, like, how can we pitch in, and it's just, and that's actually what I really like. And I felt like I did that a lot at Target, because I was like really the only one that kind of did the job. And I felt like this little entrepreneur in Target, where I'd have to kind of go sell everybody like the idea, and, like, okay, buyer, we should do this. And then I'd have to go another one. And then I'd get them all together, and they're like, yay, Gaye, let's do it. So, which they often did say yay, Gaye. So I was like very exciting, but like you, I mean, I really had to put on a lot of hats, and I love that though. I mean, I wouldn't want to do HVAC every day. I have to tell you that, but it's really, thrilling to be able to do that and work in this really dynamic market, because it changes so quickly. Everything's so fast. And, again, I've worked in retail for a long time, but it was a lot slower back then, but now it's just like everything is changing. And then, oh, there's tariffs, it's like, how do we adjust for that? So anyways, putting on a lot of hats, and, really trying to help the team, because, that's what you should do. It's all about relationships.
I love that, especially getting an inside look into 2 different companies, 2 different job titles, but yet so many similarities, right? And I think we get so hung up on job titles, or we think like, oh, this person must do that. And you don't look behind the scenes to see all of the things that are actually happening.
Yeah, and just very quickly, if you're unfamiliar, Miraculous Corp is French, based in France, around some IP, a children's show. So that's our kids' connection. That's okay. Well, at a certain, I have a son, he's 17 months old, so I'm very familiar with Pacifier. Probably at a certain point, I will become very familiar with Miraculous Ladybug, the show. I've watched a couple episodes for research for this. It's compelling. And now I'll see the characters out in stores all the time, I'm sure. Back to what we're here to talk about. Curious from both your perspectives, how have both consumer expectations, but also the subtle differences in the experience that's expected from the products and the retail experience changed in your eyes over the last 5 or so years? Like what's a subtle shift that we might not have noticed, but is very felt from your perspective, or something that's very felt from the consumer perspective and you've had to wrestle with?
I was going to say, I mean, for me, what I see in my business is the connection people have with whatever it is. For me, it's an entertainment property. And, I look at my competition, which is great, but like people have these emotional connections. I mean, we just had, we're celebrating this lovely TV show, which has a movie and a bunch of other things too. So, but our 10th anniversary on air. It started in France 10 years ago, and it's been in the US since 2019. But the connection, and we had this big 10th anniversary celebration. We had all these influencers flew over there on their own dime, mind you. We invited them to our cool party at the Eiffel Tower, but like the connection that they have with this brand and the passion that they show for it, and then God love them, they help spread the word, for us, and that's really organic, and you can't really buy that, right? And it's like we were talking a little earlier about Bluey. I'm sure some of you know Bluey, very popular, very popular, right? And it's not. And my girlfriend works actually on that brand, as she does retail business development. But like, not only do kids like it, the parents like it. It's just like a Pixar movie too. Like, if the parents can enjoy it and the kids can enjoy it, I mean that connection is just amazing. And I think that helps, people want to go to places and connect, like if they want to be a fan, and some people might want a big Bluey on here, but some might want to just make a mud pie because that's something that's part of the show. And that's a little bit more of a nod, like, oh, I didn't really know that. But if you know, you know.
And I liked how you started with connection, because that's where my mind went as well. So the reason for someone to go to specialty retailer, like a specialty retail, and not just someone, a parent. So parents, as you know, there's huge expectations, like the expectations of what a parent is required to do, and throw big parties for your kids and take them to, I have a team member takes her kiddo to dance who's 6, 5 times a week, right? That's a lot of expectations on your time and your finances. So you have to be giving something really special for a parent, right? Or someone with a kiddo who means a lot in their life to come to you, and to take that time out to drive specifically to you where they can just get kiddo stuff, not a Target where you're doing a lot of other things. So to me, they will come, and when they come, they expect that connection, right? So they expect someone to say, like, think about somebody who just had a baby. I'm not just going to say, well, let me see the baby. How's the baby? I'm going to say, how are you, right? And if it's a new mom that you can tell this is her first outing with her kiddo, it's a week after, like, you're doing a really good job, right? And giving them that reassurance and making that connection and genuinely wanting to, right? So I'm not saying those words because I just know I should say those words. I actually do really care, right? And in your face, making sure that comes out. So the magic is, I know I can do that if I'm watching a store, but I have 4 stores. So how do you get a culture where you have all these people that are willing to authentically care about that human across from them? So I think that is what really makes people who are parents who have all those other priorities want to come to your location and, shop with you.
I just want to know, where were you when I had a little babies? I mean, it's just like, because you guys remember, or anyone that has kids, how stressful it is. And that's just so wonderful that you can connect with them and do that in a really unique, and it's authentic to you. You actually do care. So that's amazing.
The best part of your day, right? Is making that connection. Like, I get excited, and the people on my team get excited to
That's so
do that.
awesome.
It makes your work matter.
I love it.
And so I kind of want to touch base on that, because it's like you have the experience when you go in store for you, right? But then you also have, and tell me, but this is what I would assume, is that you have the experience in store, which is going to be much different than going, down the aisle at Target or Walmart or whatever your choice is. But then you have that kind of brand affiliation, that commitment and that trust that you get from being in the store, that then can take it to online. Is that kind of how you view it as well?
It is. And the challenge is, so our brand words are well-being, curated, and expert. How do you bring that across when you're not like, I can make a connection with you and you can see it in my eyes. That's harder to do online. But my big aha this year has been, I can have marketing that looks like AI, right? Which we're going to get to. I can have marketing that looks absolutely beautiful, picture perfect, but that will not make a connection. So it was a month ago, it's holiday season, and I'm getting 6 pallets of Jellycat. right? That's the really hot plush right now. And it was 11 o'clock on Saturday, and I was receiving the Jellycat, or 10 or 11 at night. I forget what. And I'm just like, I know people are going to be excited about this Jellycat. I had no makeup on. I looked a mess. I made a video, and it resonated more than any picture perfect video that I have. And I probably wouldn't have been comfortable with that at 30. I wouldn't be caught dead, like being on in your 40s. It's really freeing, apparently. I'm like, why not? What do I have to lose? But it's just like, how do you show them you're authentic? And the other funny story about it is one of the Jellycat was a bagel. And people connected with my Midwest pronunciation of bagel, right? Like that was,
Yes, it's a thing.
it's a thing. But
Bag is another
it's
one.
unique.
Yes.
It's unique and it's authentic. And like that I commented back to people about it, they loved it.
I love that too. So it's like, it's not only for the store, but it's also, the people behind that as well. And then I kind of want to dive, same question, but like, because it's a little bit different on your end because you're almost building the trust with the parent because no matter what, kids are going to like what kids like, right? And that's where, well, you get the buy-in because they run the show. But like, how do you make that connection with the parents, the people who are in charge of them buying and, doing the themed birthdays and purchasing the items and how do you make that connection?
I pray the kids nag their mothers and fathers because no, it's really funny. We're really working on that actually right now as we speak because we have a brand that kids love. I mean, we have a lot of fans. And our audience is a little older. It's not like the Bluey age. We're really like 5 to 10 because the content's a little more sophisticated. The animation's beautiful, and kids love us. Now we also have this whole section of people we call miraculars that are like really into the brand. And we're not quite at the point where those miraculars are having kids. So I look forward to that day someday so that they want to bring the brand to their kids. Like, I think, Jeanette, did we work on Star Wars together? I don't know. We did a thing called Share the Force where we were trying to sell more Star Wars stuff at Target and it was like wonderful, but we're all like, well, we all grew up with Star Wars. How can the father or the family share Star Wars with their kids and get them into the brand? And it was like, and we did this really cool Share the Force where you shared all these memories and it was like up into something and whatever. It was really cool at the time. But, we're really working hard right now in the US because like France, killing it. Germany, killing it, a very global brand. But here we're just like parents. I tell people, like most of you are probably like, what is she talking about? I've never even heard of this brand, but the kids know it. So we're just working hard to like develop experiences. I did a program with FAO Schwartz just this summer where we worked with them. We had like a shop in the store. We invited a bunch of influencers. We had what the kids really light up is the characters when they see, which is weird because I'm always like, oh, characters, they're weird and creepy, but no, the kids love these characters. And I just remember like one little girl came and she's like ran up to Ladybug and she's, I love you. And you're just like, oh my God. So, the parents can kind of see it, but like, we're really working hard to make sure that that the moms and the dads all understand this brand and showing up in places like, at a Comic-Con or, we're on Roblox, but it's really interesting again, because we have kids, but we also have this whole Miraculous brand. So kind of still working on that because I need a little more, we have a great brand, need a little more brand awareness for parents. So working on that now.
Well, we're circling around this idea of connection. Certainly, it seems like just being real is a way to forge that in a physical retail setting, but even through digital is part of what I'm hearing. Some of it's the product, some of it's the people who help, bring the product to life in the store digital experience. I'm wondering, and maybe we start with Gaye on this one. There's this other side to retail, kind of two parties coming together in order to sell something in person, the side selling it and the side trying to get the product to the retailers. I'm wondering if you can give us just a little peek into the relationship building aspect of that work. How do you go about building those relationships? Some tips for people who might need to do it. but also what does a super productive relationship look like when we're trying to figure this out so it's beneficial for both parties?
I'm kind of laughing in my own head because like when you worked at Target, everyone like wanted to talk to you. When you don't work at Target, they don't want to talk to you. Maybe some of you can relate, but I think, so it's building a relationship, being kind, sending them, giving them something like, why do they care? So, an email, why should they meet with me to talk about this? And it's really like, it's mutual respect. It's being respectful. And I think it's also really trying to understand their business and like, how can I make that buyer's life easier? How can I make sure that, if I sell them my Miraculous toys, that they're going to blow off the shelf and, they're going to look like a hero. So it's like it's really mutual respect and being, respectful of their time, but also giving them a reason to want to meet with you and making their lives easier. Like I said, it's like also just, bringing them something they might not have understood before. Like, and I think, particularly, mass retailers really want data. So like, how can I bring them data? Like, is it, research on the characters? Is it, sell through on, blind boxes, like whatever it is, and bringing them something that's like meaningful to them and like kind of helping them. You help me, I'll help you. And I think it's really just a mutual respect and being, just, kind and civil and, if you don't want it, that's fine. Just say no. It's okay. We'll move on. So just mutual respect. And I think we learned that all in kindergarten, but I don't think we all always do that.
Some of us could use a refresher, but that's fair enough. Alissa, what do you think?
So for the brands that we carry, obviously we're also not Target. We're kind of the little fish, but in the world of baby stores, to have four baby stores now that Bye Bye Baby is gone is more than most. So I think how we get them excited about working with us is our curation. So showing our beautiful merchandising and that will represent their brand really well and in a really unique way and create content about that. And then our expertise. So the fact that we have people, including myself, that are CPST trained and know all of the safety kind of ins and outs and can talk about that with the parents and caregivers that we're selling the car seats and strollers to. So really making sure that they see us as that partner, and then our Midwest Nice also helps.
But I think that's why I would want to go to your store versus, Target or Walmart, whatever. It's just like, because I didn't hardly know anything about a car seat. I didn't even know how to hardly put it in the, in the car, let alone change a diaper. So like, you're trusted not only for your resources, but also your customers, which is amazing.
And a little tip, 65% of car seats are installed incorrectly.
September
was Child Passenger Safety Month.
With that, because, so you're both talking about you work with bigger brands, but you consider yourself a smaller brand. I think that goes to an advantage too, because you're able to customize a little bit more. You don't have to necessarily always work inside maybe the box or behind the red tape. How do you, is there anything that comes to mind in ways that you try to customize your experience? If it's a relationship for the business that you're building, if it's with the customer, that you can kind of, I don't want to say one up the big retail boxes, but
I would say we can move faster. So I like small and I like big business. Like I could do either. What is most unique is instead of creating a PowerPoint about it and getting buy-in over the period of 4 months, I could just go do it. Right?
So it makes it a lot easier.
Right? If we find a cool brand, like we're going to test it smartly, same as we would test any new technology. But I can say, ooh, that's a cool idea. Or I met someone and they have this really cool product. I want to bring it in store. And it's there in a week or two. So I think that's really what's unique about small business for me.
I was going to say similar, a lot more nimble was the word I was going to use. And I had to think about, again, we do our best to help promote the manufacturers, the licensees that carry our products. And we have pretty big social media channels because we have all these great fans. And I'm telling you, Disney is not promoting, my friends, playmates, our licensees' toys on their channels, but we will. And I think that, they really appreciate that type of, nimbleness, because we are a small company. And like you said, I don't have to go ask 15 people. I can call the CEO tomorrow or whatever, even today. Let's call him. No, I'm kidding.
Zoom 'em in.
But, it's just like we can work so much faster than a big, Titanic, like, Disney.
So sticking with the idea of being nimble, you can slap a character on umpteen million products these days. There are so many children's products these days. My question is, how do you decide what trends are worthwhile and which aren't? How do you decide what to integrate into a product line, your brand image, and what's not? How do you cut through the noise?
So I would say for product curation, there used to be all these big buying shows, right? And everyone would go there and you would get to go into the little area where they had all of the new brands. That's not so much a thing anymore. And particularly since COVID. So there's not a good place to physically go to discover toys, right? You could go to the German Toy Fair, see some new brands. But the best way is actually recommendations from our team, which is a very curated team. We have grandparents, we have retail students, we have new parents. But what are they hearing about and what do they want to use? Also our customers. So again, to being nimble, if a customer comes in and says, well, have you heard about this brand? That team member will actually call or email or text me and the buyer that I partner with and be like, I've looked at this. I think it's pretty cool. We should reach out to them. And then we reach out to them. So that's really how we approach what we bring in. We also make sure that a team member has tested it or somebody that we trust feels good about whatever product. So if I bring in a new toy and one of my team members is a parent of a 4-year-old and they're like, ooh, this is not good, or this is not culturally sensitive, we will quit carrying it. Right? So we really want our team members to have products that they feel proud to carry and that they feel 100% confident in recommending.
Yeah, I think, I want to say, for us, we work with, like in the US alone, we have 60 different manufacturers. And these people that we're working with are the experts in their own field. So we're lucky that we're not, from a product development standpoint, though we have a product development team, to work with them. But I think for me, what I'm always doing, and this gets me excited again, this is I'm doing a job that's probably not even mine. I'm not product development, but I'm always online looking, seeing what's trending, Labubu. I think it's dead already, but it was so hot, for a minute there. I'm like, oh, I wish we had Labubu. And we're like, how can we be Labubu? But, just really, trying to be up to date on the trends, reading a lot, going to trade shows, looking at, different places that maybe you wouldn't expect to see a trend. I mean, I think, we look at, the teens, they, TikTok, right? I mean, how many trends have you guys seen on there? And wanted to buy all that makeup that they're selling us to hopefully make me look better. But I think, for us, it's really looking for trends, and then do they apply authentically though to my brand? Some things will, some things won't.
I think you just touched on a really good point of the impact and the influence that online has, and especially social media. And I'm a social media consultant. I have a love-hate relationship with social media because I know also everything that goes on the back end that I'm like, ooh, is this fair? But okay, well, we're going to get the message in front of the right people. And even the influence of just kids. There's some YouTube channel that some kid plays with toys, and what he's probably making more than all of us combined in this room, and will continue to do that for the rest of his life, and they just watch him unbox and play with toys. It's such an interesting time. So when you think about the online influence for your brands, how do you think about it? How do you approach it?
That's a good question. So we always when things come out like TikTok, I'm on TikTok. I haven't figured it out quite yet, but most baby stores are even further behind. So I think not being afraid and to try new things, I think is super important. I've taken a pivot a little bit where a lot of our content that we create, before it was all about product. And again, people just aren't interested in that. They're interested in the personality and the team and seeing behind the scenes. So we've shifted that kind of a little bit more. And then the most recent thing I've been doing is we do a monthly photo shoot with a kiddo. And it's either a team member kiddo or it's actually one of our customers. So again, getting back to creating that authentic connection, like I get to sit down on the floor and play with that kiddo and the parent and see what they think about those toys. But in making that connection, I usually also am able to make a brand fan, right? Because we try to make sure they have a good experience, have the right music playing. Usually it's this most recent one was the K-pop Demon Hunters, which like for a 4-year-old, again, I learned about their music tastes, which is fascinating. But really kind of making that one-on-one connection. And then the family that is in, they're going to share it on their social. So it's a more of a local take. But, you know, the people that we've had in over the past year, they like all of our stuff still, right? Just because they had that kind of unique one-on-one moment. We get photographs from it. We send them home with toys and a gift card and, you know, hopefully an experience that they talk about, you know, at the dinner table and to all their little friends.
Can I just tell you how much I love that? I'm just like, yes.
It's so cute. It's so cute.
I was just gonna say, I worked for that company where we exploited children. No, we didn't really exploit the children. I mean, these kids actually, Ryan's World, who was the first and really the biggest one who was unboxing toys. And then we made toys of the stuff that he did, which was wonderful. I mean, the company I worked for, I have to say, I mean, they really had like high standards of like who they'd even take and like making sure kind of like actors and like the money, because it's a little bit of the Wild Wild West there, like making sure that, you know, if there was safe places, it was only on YouTube Kids, you know, yada, yada, yada. But it's very interesting, you know, because there are obviously some people that probably do exploit their kids. It's very scary, but didn't want to go down that path. But like, I mean, from a brand standpoint, like we also, from a digital standpoint, try to make sure we're like everywhere that kids are. Like we're on Roblox. We have been like one of the top Roblox destinations until this thing called Skibbity Toilet. Anybody hear of this thing? Oh my God, it's a toilet with a guy's head out of it. And that's killing it in Roblox. It's like #1 all the time. But I know it's really scary. You can look it up. It's like, what? But kids love it, you know? And like, I mean, if I'd have been at Target and thought a toilet with a guy, they probably would have fired me. But I was just gonna say, you know, we just try to like really be, you know, kind of everywhere like, you know, kids are and be it, you know, the movie theater. We also just did, which we just did this week, which I loved. It's kind of like on, we gave early access to we're in season 6 right now and Disney is releasing. It's not like Netflix where they drop everything, but we gave some of our fans early access to the show and then they got to watch it. And then we watched them, they filmed themselves watching the show and just the passion that they had. And it was just like, the woman that worked on our team, that I'm like, this is so clever. Like, I mean, I was really like sucked into it. I'm just like, oh my God, this is so fun to watch these people like really like get into the show. But again, it was just really authentic to our brand and they loved it.
I love that, especially because I think like social media, being online, anytime you can take an experience that you're doing or seeing from your brand and then give that back to your audience, you know, anyone can try to sell a product, right? It's that connection that really makes sales go. And that I just think it's so important. So I love that you both you have your separate takes on it and the way that you're making that come to life, but that you're putting your customer first before the product, which I think we're going to continue to see more and more of, you know, as we continue to go, as especially consumer expectations continue to grow higher as well.
Yeah, for sure. I imagine there's so much to learn about the customer in any situation, of course, but like the kid-parent dynamic is so unique and like an interesting interplay there. So I'm wondering if we can ask you to be a little bit vulnerable for a second and share a mistake or something you now would say is maybe a mistake you made that really taught you something about that customer or the business.
Got a really good one.
Yeah, right.
Big mistake. So during COVID, we obviously were wearing masks, we're being very careful, and our stores used to have kiddo play areas. In North Loop, it was a huge one right in the center. And of course, we couldn't let folks use them because there was no way to sanitize the toys. So we got rid of them. And a lot of the team members were passionate about, well, that is prime retail, right? You are devoting a lot of space that you could have product that you could sell to this play area. So we did that. And obviously with COVID, we couldn't, but we were slow to bring them back. And for all those reasons, but what the insight was from a caregiver perspective, the stress it took off of the caregivers to know that their kiddo could go there. They wouldn't be breaking things they shouldn't be breaking. Just the peace of mind and the stress it took off them meant they felt more comfortable staying longer and shopping longer, right? And they felt better about being in the space and not like, always tense about, oh no, where did my kiddo go? And, do I need to be watching them? So in our bigger stores, we have brought back seasonal play areas that we change and rotate with the season. It's a cute little RV camper right now with a little fireplace set. So I think to me that was a big, consumer psychology thing that I should have thought through that and I didn't. And now I'm trying to fix it with a slightly different take on it, which is kind of fun.
This is what that reminded me of. I thought back in the day to when we'd go to Blockbuster, and Blockbuster had this little area that, like, as your parents looked and wanted to go look at all their movies and all of that, and you could go play in that, right? And it was such like you get so excited as a kid, and like obviously as a kid you didn't realize you were driving your parents to go to Blockbuster because you wanted to go play while they picked out a movie, and so it's that kind of same thing. It's like we're almost kind of making this full circle moment that like people want those real experiences.
And that just reminded me, like when you would go to the bank or you'd go to the liquor store with your parents back in my day and you'd get that little dum-dum, right? You remember that as a kid. And it's like, I want to go there.
You don't make mistakes. Fair enough. Yeah.
I mean, have you seen this outfit? I don't think she's made a mistake.
I believe it. Can I get a time check?
Yes, I think we are about to open it up to our audience for questions.
Yeah, if you have a question for either or both speakers, please.
Thank you. I have a question that's not so much industry specific, but I remember you saying that you're reaching out to these buyers. COVID and some of the things after COVID, people not returning to work, people not offering desk phones anymore, with all of the security of software blocking any email coming in they don't know. Are you finding it different or more difficult to reach out to people? And have you found clever or unique ways to reach them?
Yes, it's difficult to, I call on really every retailer and, some are better than others. And like my brand's good, but it's not like it's no Bluey. But I was talking to a friend today. Well, Bluey's great for now, but I was I'm going to take her on. It's a girl. But I was even talking to a friend today, and he represents Sanrio, which is Hello Kitty, which is really, if you go into any store right now, it's Bluey, Stitch, Hello Kitty. That's like the only things. There's no not a lot of risk taking, in my opinion, with the buyers. But like he even told me today, he's like, "Hey, I can't get the Target buyer to call me back," and I'm just like, "Well, welcome to my world." And I mean, when I worked at Target, I always tried to, no matter who called me, and I had some weird stuff being pitched to me, but I always listened to them because first of all, you never know, this is like someone's, dad or brother. So I always listened to them, and then I always would try to give them I would check to see if anyone was interested and then give a thoughtful response, because I'm just like, you just never know. I might be working for that person someday, who knows? But it is difficult. But again, I think it's just like, I try not to be too annoying. Like I'm calling these buyers. I do it really kind of on a quarterly basis, unless we have like current business with them. But people I'm trying to like infiltrate into, I just try not to be too annoying and try to, again, like, hey, this might be helpful for you. And maybe you want this. And like, we're really kind of a hot brand, and trying to like, solve a problem for them. So I don't know if that answers your question, but that's kind of how I approach it.
Interesting.
The email is blocked before they get the phone.
We have a question back here.
Thank you. My question is about user-generated advertising. So not exactly the influencers, but the prevalence of the homemade, cheap-looking retail advertising that is all over cell phones and things like that. Do you have any data that says it works? Or if not data, do you have any experience or even gut feelings or reactions to that type of retail advertising?
So We used to do it. So it was more so we would find local influencers. We were very local focused and give them a specific coupon code. And then before we started doing our own photo shoots, they would use the photos, like they would take photography with their kids and the products that we offer, and then get a discount for doing that, our employee discount. It seemed to, it worked, but it seemed like once everyone started doing it, it was less effective. So we've not currently doing that particular tactic. We're more so trying to create our own content, I would say.
Yeah, and we're really as the licensor, we really do more brand marketing about our brand, making sure they know that the new season is on, not really product specific. So I don't really have any like good examples or results that I could even tell you. But we do use a lot of social media, and we do have influencers that create products, or not create products, but create content for us. Like we just did we have a very popular Halloween costume until K-pop Demon Hunters came along. We have a really great costume, but yeah, we just had like people help us do that, help us create content around that because it's more authentic to the brand. But yeah, we don't really do that yet.
I want to kind of add on to that because I think it's very different depending upon your brand, right? But I fully believe there are so many brands out there that aren't taking advantage of people who are already fans and talking about their brands. Think about when you go to a restaurant, you take a picture, you tag them for that restaurant to then repost, and the person's like, oh, I got reposted. That's exciting, right? There are so many opportunities like that, I feel like, for maybe some businesses that don't quite have, I want to call it red tape a little bit, that they have to be careful about who the person is that they're reposting. So if you work for a company and maybe you have that ability, checking to see who is mentioning and making sure you have somebody monitoring that so that and even the seasons as well, even just to know from a social listening perspective, when your brand is getting mentioned, how you're engaging back as a brand, you can really build so much of a relationship without it even being a person, right, from the brand. So had to add that in.
Hi. Oh, sorry. My name's Zach. I'm from Duluth, Minnesota, and so this is going to be a little aggressive here. So I come from a civil construction background, okay? But I'm 100% Finnish, and I'm a huge sauna. You guys know what a sauna is, or a sauna? It's sauna and Finnish. Just let's get that straight. But so I came up with this concept of a really cool product last winter when I was sitting in my sauna, and now I want to get into the e-commerce soft goods space. And I have no clue what I'm doing, but I really believe there's a huge market there. So you guys are great. This was a very informative, but then this is the aggressive part. Like this question goes out to everybody. Like, I need help, and I need to know if you guys would know anybody that I could talk to about this deal. I don't need capital. I just need help. Thank you.
Perhaps. I think we'll have to talk after and see what it is. I mean, I might know some people that like a lot. I've again, I don't know what it is. So I have a lot of friends that do, brand representation, that type of thing. Maybe even here locally in Minneapolis, but also friends in New York and LA that do a lot of things. It depends what it is. Maybe. Of course.
Any questions?
If it makes you, yeah, higher capsule. Thank you, sir. It's got our back. Also, if it makes you feel better, again, my background is in history. 3 years ago, I did not know what brand strategy was. Now I'm sitting here. So a lot can change pretty quick when you meet people.
What I love about you is that you literally take your background and you bring that into this whole other world. Like you're the untrained person that we you have this way of thinking, and then you get to bring that into the marketing world, which is so refreshing. So I just have to say that as well.
Agreed on that, working personally with Dustin. Hi, I'm Ellen. I'm also with Capsule. Big theme today, it sounds like it's been about connection, the ways you're intentionally connecting with your audiences, whether that's individually or as a brand. I'm curious, I heard you mention events offhand, and I know you have fanatical fans. Curious if you could give us any insights around actually your fans connecting with each other and how you've helped create venues for that, whether that's through events, digital spaces, and like if you've seen any traction or results from like loyalty or what that's done for your brand to create community, if you are.
So I have two examples, one physical, one digital. So two of the hottest toy brands, and we don't do we do 0 to 6. So we don't do as much characters. We do more like the wooden toy type stuff. But Mile, which is this little mice brand that are like, it's imaginative play, and people are super passionate about it. So we did a royalty party this weekend. And so it was for like people could come in their royal attire. We had little macarons, right? We had some crafts. We had a photo booth. And people came bringing their favorite mouse, right? And they were talking to each other about their mice as they did crafts. So events have been hard since COVID, but actually 80 people came. Most of them were kids, right? Including kids. It wasn't 80 like families, but like of all the events we've done recently, that one got quite a few. So again, it was just people were so passionate about their little mice. And one mouse had been to 48 different states and had pictures in 48 states. The digital version of that is Jellycat. So Jellycat used to be a kids brand. They're delightful. They're in North Loop, their US office. Last Christmas, we didn't have any Jellycat, and that is because it is the teens and adults now buying the Jellycat. So it is very popular on TikTok, right? So 6-year-olds are on TikTok. The teenagers are on TikTok talking about their Jellycats. So creating the community there is that video where I was sweaty and all of that I talked about. It was unboxing and showing them, these are the Jellycats that are sold out on Jellycat, right? And here's the ones we have, and creating that conversation. So it kind of gets to UGC because then everyone bought their Jellycats from us. The Smudge Monkey apparently is the hot one right now. And now they're posting content about, oh, I just got my Smudge Monkey. I'm unboxing it. It's from Pacifier Kids. So kind of two different examples with two different brands folks are passionate about.
And I was just going to say, I don't have a retail store, and I don't have a big program yet, but I will at Target or Walmart. One of them will do it with me. But we just, a couple things, like we just did a partnership with a cafe called Requiem Cafe. They're in Anaheim. They're very near Disneyland. And again, older audience, they sell really cool boba tea type of things. We did an activation with them. They made all these, the Cat Noir drink, the Ladybug drink, all the drinks. They made special merchandise. And then they had like kind of a ball where everyone came though in their cosplay outfit. And I think the fans, like, it was crazy because some of the voice talent who lives in LA went down there, and they were showing the lines of the people coming into the thing, and it was unreal. And I think they met. And then the other thing I told you a little bit about, we just had that big the big Eiffel Tower event in Paris. And again, some of these influencers came over. Well, like 5 of them had never met because one was in Belgium, one was in LA, one was in France. They're all like best friends. Now they're posting each other's stuff. And then they were doing all this content with like all of them, like at the Eiffel Tower, and then how they went to the party. And so they're starting to even interact themselves, which are just like, wow. And I think, we're just really starting to learn how big our fan base is. And that's like a whole, I think, white space opportunity. I just was talking to like Hot Topic, and I'm like, people, you've got to get more into this brand because it's like, it's pop culture. These kids and these fans are crazy about us. So we'll see more to come on that, but it's very exciting.
We have time for one more question if anyone has one. Yeah, absolutely.
So this is a question, nobody's talked about AI yet, so I feel like somebody has to say something about it. Looking specifically at the negative side of things that can be done nowadays, brand protection against deep fakes, things like that. Not sure if it is as impactful for you, Alissa, but maybe it is for you, Gaye. Have you experienced any of that? What are you talking about internally to protect against that? Any experience?
I mean, I work remotely, so I don't hear everything that's going on in the office, which is, that's the bummer about working remotely. But I mean, I don't think it's impacted us yet, but I think we're really watching it. I mean, we have a whole counterfeit team that actually works on making sure that all the counterfeit costumes and the party and everything is globally is like taken down, and it's unreal how much merchandise there is that's fake or whatever. But I think we're still just we don't even know the impact on it. And I think too, is like working for a production company. I mean, I think it's like so important that we're not like, we have real, animators actually working on the show. And I think it's like a whole world that I don't even think I know about, but I think it's happening, and we all have to really be diligent on watching, like, how do we not let this happen? I mean, it works, it's great. And you guys can tell when people like even write you an AI, message, because they're like, there's the dash. Everyone knows about this, right? There's a dash. You see a lot of dashes in an email, probably generated by
And 5 emojis. That's how you can tell.
Oh,
A dash and emoji.
that's so funny. But yeah, I think it's just like, it's still like the wild, wild west, even for us. And I don't even think we've even like seen what's going to happen. But I mean, I mean, that's why the writers and actors like went on strike, because, they're fearful of losing their jobs because of this. And, we do need that human touch. I mean, that's what's so important. Kind of back to the connections. It's like, that's why you're successful, because you have the human touch, and you can't AI that.
Well, just a couple minutes left. I would maybe just pick your brain one more time. Do you have one nugget of foresight for retail in the next 5 years? Like, what's one thing you think will change and why?
So I think tying it all back to actually trying not to be perfect, right?
Mhm.
So I've always come from the progress over perfection, right? Just get started and get something done. But I think people are going to turn away from perfect. And I think what's going to resonate more is the imperfection and the quirks and what makes people unique. Because that is like, I could see a bazillion, perfect ads, but the one where I'm like, ooh, that's kind of quirky is the one I'm going to pay attention to. So I think we're going to see the pendulum swing from picture perfect to more real.
And I was thinking it'll be the personalization. I mean, you guys know, like all of a sudden you're like thinking something, and all of a sudden your phone is serving you up ads. You're like, how did they know I wanted a pontoon? I mean, like I never even said it out loud or whatever it is. But like, I know.
I was
There, thank God.
I was thinking pizza and you were thinking pontoon.
But like, how does it even know? I mean, it's just like crazy. But I think, personalization. And then I think kind of like, what I think is wonderful what you're doing. And I can't wait to have someone that has a babysitter and come to your store. But like that personalization and that personal touch, I think we just all miss it. And I think that's the retailers that know how to do it, big or small, are going to be probably the most successful. That's my take.
Love both of those takes. And thank you both very much, Alissa and Gaye, for joining us today. One closing announcement is just our next Think and Link event, November 20th. We have Brianne Olson, the CEO of PacSun, and Yumi Clevenger Lee, the CMO of Quest Global. We'll be talking about intersections of culture broadly and company culture. All things culture. So please plan to join us then. Thank you everyone online, and let's give our speakers a big round of applause.
Thanks for having us.